Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and today we're talking about the Battle of the Brows and specifically brow pens. I remember when the MAC Shape and Shade first came out and I was fascinated with the idea of a brow pen that you could actually draw hair strokes on because I don't show my eyebrows on my channel very often just because recording brows is kind of like a waste of time, I guess, and a waste of memory card space. So, if you don't know, I have pretty much no brows. I will insert a picture here of what my brows look like. So I'm always kind of on the hunt for the best brow product to make it I don't want perfect brows, I just want to make it look like I have brows. Also, if you are curious about this look, it is coming in a video very, very soon. I think it's going to be the one after this. So if you want to know all the details on that, then make sure you click the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video or learned anything new from it, give it a thumbs up. And let's get started. Okay, so just to start with, because this is the first one that I discovered, was the MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint Pen. I have two shades here. I first picked up Lingering, which is a little bit of a warmer brown, and then I picked up Spiked because that was the darkest shade. Yet this is still a pretty, it looks cooler tone than Lingering, as you can see, but it's not quite like my brow hairs are almost black. I'd say they're like a dark brown. And so I picked up this one. And in case you don't know, on the tip here is a brush tip pen. Almost all of these are actually brush tip. And then on the other end here is a powder like sponge. It kind of reminds me of the sponges that you use to, on the other end of the liner, that you use to like smudge out your eyeliner. So these pens retail for $22. You can get them on Ulta, Amazon. I think they're a little more expensive on Amazon. I think they're like $28. And then of course you can get them on MAC's website. And MAC does have free shipping. So if you're just wanting the pen, you're not shopping anywhere else, you can pick them up there. And I do like this pen. It was like life-changing to me in the beginning. But for me, with how dark my brows are, they didn't give the line, because it's a tint, it's not like a liquid eyeliner or anything like that. I gave a tint, so they didn't quite look like brow hair strokes against my hair color. With this one, I was actually able to create a whole brow width, as you'll see with some of the other brow products. I could kind of create the hair strokes in the front, but they're not going to give you the full brow. This one you could, but you're going to use a lot of product. And as far as the powder end goes, I have just pretty thin brows, so just to use just this product, the pen and then the sponge powder side, it wasn't practical for me. So I didn't often use the sponge tip side, but I will on occasion, and it does work. You don't have as much control and precision over the brow. So that's what I started out with when I was introduced to pens, was these two. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. But it still wasn't exactly what I wanted because it was just a little bit sheer. So when it came to like either the tail or gaps where I kind of make the shape and don't have any hairs there, it was just sheer and kind of, you could see the difference. You know, it was very obvious that I didn't have those brows I was drawing them on. And then pretty recently, Urban Decay released the Urban Decay Brow Blade. I'm sure you've seen this around. This similarly, wrong side, has the brush tip side, and then on the other side it has a waterproof pencil, and I'm down to this amount. I think I do have a backup, but so this was, I think, really exciting for a lot of people that had used the MAC one because it has a pencil. A lot of people didn't use the powder. I would say a majority of people probably use a pencil to carve out their brows or to shape their brows. So this one seemed, you know, a lot more practical for people because if they didn't like the ink stain, at least they had the pencil, you know, or they could do their whole brow with the pencil and then just kind of draw the brow hairs in the front. Sorry, my dog's gonna be barking in the background. They're playing in the garage. So this one I kind of had the same problem with. It just, they're not super pigmented, and with that there's a pros and cons to it because when they're not super pigmented, you don't mess up as much. You know, I feel like when they are sheer, they sort of emulate a brow hair a little bit better. They kind of mix, but when you don't want to like a straight like eyeliner stroke, because I mean you could mess up, it might be darker than your brows, you know, things like that. And I think that's why the higher end brands are kind of coming out with lighter shades, because they don't want there to be a huge difference between your brow hair and the drawn in brow hair. So the tint kind of just looks a little bit lighter, a little bit more natural. But if you have really dark brown or black brows, I don't see this one working for you either. This is almost the darkest shade. I think there's one more darker shade. Let me see here. Dark Drapes is the next darkest shade. I have Neutral Nana, and on me, sometimes this pulls green. I don't know what it is. Other times it pulls just warm, other times it pulls green, other times it looks fine. Maybe it just depends on the lighting, my eyeshadow, I don't know. But it's just not a perfect shade match pretty much no matter what I do. You can find this at Ulta, Sephora, and of course Urban Decay. It is $26 and it comes in 7 shades, which is the same as the MAC one, by the way. The MAC pen comes in 7 shades. So another kind of con with this one, when I would apply it to my eyebrow, just you have to have such a light hand, because if you don't, where you start, like, you know, the point where you start the brow hair, you're gonna have sort of like a dark spot. It's hard to get just nice light strokes. I find if you go at like the side angle like this, you know, when you're writing with a pen, you put the pen to paper and then start writing, you kind of have like an ink glob. And that's sort of what this does when it's drawing the hairs on. So you really have to kind of go at the side and really flick it through. But this is a great option if you do like a pencil and you just need the pen for feathering in the hairs at the beginning. You're not really filling in a whole lot of sparse areas. This is a great option, but the shade just wasn't quite for me. So as I've kind of discovered these brow pens, I saw one actually on Bailey Sarian used it first, is where I first saw it. She was just doing a video and just casually started doing her brows. I think it could have been a murder mystery makeup. If you haven't seen that series, you should go watch it. It's so interesting. I will link Bailey down below. But she was using the Ardell Stroke-A-Brow. Now this just came out, I think, like a couple weeks ago maybe. And I saw that she was using it. She like very briefly mentioned it, and I was like, I have to try it. I love brow pens. I don't have brows. I want to make it look like I have full brows. I need to try it. So I picked this one up. I just got it on Amazon, and I got it in the shade Soft Black. This comes in 4 shades. They actually don't have it on Ardell's website, but you can get it on Ulta and Amazon, and I think it's $8. This one, unlike the other two, does not have anything on the other side. I think you kind of benefit if you're just looking for something to stroke the brow hairs with. You already have other like brow products that you love. This might be a good addition because it's just for the brow hairs. Like I said, I got it in dark black, so with the MAC and the Urban Decay ones, I kind of put them in a separate group, not only because they're more well-known, I don't say, yeah, kind of well-known brands. They're lighter on me, so they're more of a stain, they're more of a, you know, lightly feathering in, whereas this one and the next one I'm going to mention, these are soft black, so these are more the color of my brow hairs. So the con with this Ardell Stroke-A-Brow one is it runs out so quickly. When I first got it, I did both brows. It was great. It was almost even kind of leaking a little bit in the cap, but I was able to get both brows done. I think I used just this on my whole entire brow. Now Soft Black, that is a little bit dark for the whole brow, but it did work. They have, like I said, they have 3 other shades that you can try. It tends to leak if you store it upside down, but if you don't store it upside down, then the ink won't get to the tip. Like, it'll sit in the base of the brush, the bristles, and it kind of won't get to the tip, and you can't get that fine line. You have to store it upside down in order to use it, but when you do that, it does risk leaking all over. So as far as like the formula and the performance of this one, I think it looks great on my color brows for what I use it for stroking it through. I just wish I could execute it a little bit better so that it didn't leak and so that the product was dispersed a little better and it didn't like kind of run out, you know what I mean? So similarly to that one, I decided to try the Lime Crime Bushy Brow. I got this in the shade Smoky, so it's kind of like the soft black. This is $20. It comes in 5 shades, so one more than the Ardell one. And you can get this at a plethora of places. You can get it at Urban Outfitters, Revolve, Lime Crime, Dolls Kill, Nordstrom, Ulta. I mean, all over. It's pretty accessible. So this one is like the Ardell one, not only in that I got it a shade that closer matches my actual brow hairs, but it doesn't have anything on the other side. And this one, I think, so far, might be my favorite because it doesn't run out as easily as the Ardell one. Like with the Urban Decay and the MAC one, I never had an issue with them running out ever. But with this one, it tends to before I finish my brows, but I can kind of shake it or store it upside down for a minute, carve out the other brow, and then go back to what I was doing and able to finish the other brow. I can do my whole entire eyebrow with this if I want to, but the MAC and the Urban Decay ones are a really light sheer tint, like they're described as, whereas this one is really like, it's more pigmented and you're actually getting like a nice line out of it. I'm able to add in just nice brow hairs, like you don't have to worry so much about how much pressure you're putting down like you do on the other ones. It's so easy and so nice, and it makes doing my brows so much quicker. Okay, so I have one more, and this isn't really, this isn't quite in the category because I found out that it was before its time, like way before its time. It's not really, I don't think it's really out there anymore. It's kind of discontinued, but I was able to find it. So this is the Milani Brow Tint Pen, and it retails for $9. This one is a little bit different in the fact that it is a felt tip pen. It's not a brush. So this is nice if you're just starting out, if you're first wanting to try brow pens and see if they work for you, because the amount of pressure you apply doesn't matter. It's stiffer than a brush. A brush is pretty flexible, and this is just stiff. You can just kind of run it through. Now, they only have this in 2 shades. I got the darkest shade, which is dark brown, and I got it because I just wanted to try. I just wanted to see, and I didn't know that it came out in 2014 and that wasn't a thing anymore. So when I found it, I think I got it on eBay or something, but you can get it on buymebeauty.com where it retails for $9. So it's good to try if you can get your hands on it. You don't want to spend a lot of money, but you just want to try it out. This might be a good one to try. But I don't think I'd really use this one. Like, when I'm doing my brows, it's kind of nice. I can use this to sort of outline the shape I want. That way, there's no dark lines anywhere that I'm having to erase, especially if you do your makeup first, and you mess up and you try to wipe away the lines, or if you don't, carve it out or whatever, you have to go over it. This one's nice because it's just so sheer. But if you kind of push a little bit more pressure, you can get those lines. You can get the feather-like hair strokes. But for me, it's just not quite dark enough. I kind of wish Milani would bring this back in some more shades because I think it's really cool. I don't know, maybe you can still find it at Walmart. In some Walmarts, I have no idea. I'm sorry to throw this at you and be like, good luck finding it. But I think it is a good option if you can get your hands on it and just want to give it a try. Okay, and I just want to very briefly mention one more because there is one other pen out there, and I don't want you guys to wonder if I've tried it or not because I tried it. And if you want to know what I think of it, go over to my Flower Beauty Full Face of Flower Beauty video. This is the Flower Beauty Brow Vixen Tattoo Stain. I think this is a good try, a good first round, but they can definitely better it. This is different in that it's not an actual pen. It's like a line, kind of like an angled liner, but it's felt tip. It's not a brush. And it's just, again, a stain. You have the difference between the actual pens and the stains. This is a stain. They only come, I want to say there's 4 shades of this. I got the darkest one, which is espresso. And I feel like most people have darker eyebrows. Am I wrong? My eyebrows are darker than my hair. I mean, is there a lot of people that have lighter? I don't know. Everyone I know has darker eyebrows. So I don't get why more brands don't have darker shades to cater to that. I don't know. I feel like a majority of people have dark brows. So this did not work for me at all. It just, it not only didn't get a small, hair-like stroke, it was just so lightly, so sheer that I couldn't even get really much of anything from it. So if you're wondering about this, I'd say skip it. Don't use this. If you are looking for another drugstore option, I have something that is kind of what I first started out with before I was introduced to the brow stains, and that is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Brow Gel. Now, if you're thinking, how is that anything like a brow pen, I will tell you. I think that Taylor actually does this too, but I actually just decided to try it one day on my own because I have had no brows for so long. I was trying to do everything before I realized, hey, other people have the same problem. So this has a kind of spoolie on one end, there's pretty much only one end, but it has a spoolie on this side, and you're supposed to just kind of brush it through your brows, and then it lasts 18 hours, or I don't know what the claim is, but it does last a long time, I will tell you that. But this, for me, It's not going to give me any shape, especially if you don't have brows. It's not going to do a whole lot. I mean, you kind of can, because if you have, I don't know about a lot of other people, but I have like my darker brow hairs, and then I have a lot of blonder hairs kind of going through that, and you can kind of stain the darker hairs, especially if you do that before you pencil in your brows. Just go over kind of the shape that you want, and then you'll see that you have more hair than you think. Kind of brush them up, you know. I use this, I think it's a travel size, it and Ulta, like, what do they call those? It brushes at Ulta. It's a little travel size, but it's their what is it called? Yeah, their liner brow brush. And it's just a really fine angled kind of liner brush. Lots of brands have these, you don't have to use this one. But I just pinch it together as much as I can. And then I will kind of get some product on the brush. And then you can kind of do the same thing, just kind of shape out your brow. And if you want to get like the hair-like stroke, just use just the very tip of the brush and kind of draw the brow strokes in there. It's a little bit harder and a lot more room for error when you do it that way, but I also use this in combination with brow pens all the time, where I'll kind of use my brow pen to do the front of my brow, and then I'll use this to shape out the tail of the brow, because you don't have to use as much product from the brow pen. This kind of, and it's pretty precise, you have a lot of control, and then you can just feather your brow pen through the front. And that works really well because this product does last a long time. So those are all the brow pens that I have tried. I'd say the ones that I use the most right now is the Lime Crime one and the Urban Decay one. I've actually kind of been using these in conjunction with each other because I don't want my brows to be too like dark Sharpie-ish. So I'll go in with like the Urban Decay one. Actually, today I used the Milani one, and I just kind of feathered through like I would normally do, and it didn't lay down like hair-like strokes, but it left down kind of a warmer base so that the front of my brow isn't so dark when I use a darker brow pen to feather in the strokes. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling. And then I'll go in, I do like using a brow pen to actually do the tail because you can get that fine point if that's what you're looking for, and you also, generally speaking, want the tail of your brow to be darker. So I kind of use all of these. I like to switch between them. I don't use the Flower Beauty one, I have to say. And I've stopped using the MAC one since my shade Stud is out, and this Lingering one is just a little too light for me. So if you are looking to get into brow pens, or you're just wondering what others may be like, I hope this helped you in some way. Just a quick video with my thoughts on brow pens. If you do not have brows and you think you're never going to have brows, there's hope. You can do it. It just took a lot of practice. One thing that I love, especially like I'll still use it occasionally if I'm in a hurry, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow stencils. I think lots of other brands have them now, but just make sure you're using one that's the closest to your actual brow shape. You can kind of throw it on there, fill it. Let's see how close I did. Tail's a little bit different, but that's pretty close. These are great for if you're learning how to shape your brow, if you just don't know how to shape your brow, or if you're in a hurry or anything like that. These are great. So if you are struggling with brows, I would actually really suggest stencils. I will link everything that I'm talking about down below. I do still use pencils from time to time, but since I've been introduced to brow pens, I like just having that really natural, kind of natural, because after I carve them out, they look pretty bold, but I just like kind of having a more natural looking brow. So brow pens have really helped me in that because I have come a long way and been through a lot of struggle with them. So I think that's it. If there's any brow products that I haven't tried that you know of, like any brow pens, let me know in the description box. Or if you have any other questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer. Let me know what you guys think. I'm really curious and if you've tried any of these, let me know which one is your favorite. So I think that's it. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and be the reason someone smiles today. But with this one, it does tend to, like, you have to store it upside down because, alright, let's start over. Not only that I got it a shade that closer. Power off. So this one is also a brush tip, and when you stroke it through, you have